Welcome back to another episode of the Committed to Me podcast. I'm Keisha Smiley, mental health therapist and licensed social worker.
Hey y'all, I am Alexis, licensed mental health therapist and licensed clinical social worker. Welcome back to another episode, y'all. Yes.
Y'all, we're excited. We got a new microphone.
Like, I don't know if y'all seen it, but like they right here and we're really excited about it because when I tell you, we've been a teamwork, make a dream work and putting these mics together and getting this podcast together. Like we've been doing a thing. I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us.
Mm-hmm.
We deserve crawfish.
We do. We do.
Crawfish today.
We do.
All right, Alexis, what is your favorite childhood movie?
I would have to say The Proud Family. Like, okay, I love Penny Proud. When they made the series and then they decided to turn the series into a movie, that I can rewatch that so many times. I honestly lost count of how many times I've done seen The Proud Family.
That's with mine. Mine is Little Rascals. And when I tell you, I am saying that movie word for word every time.
Okay, but why The Little Rascals? I could not get into that as a child. Them kids scared me. I don't know. Girl, them kids... They looked like they needed their parents. And why was they outside doing all those things?
Everything. No parental support.
Like, where are I like watching movies where there's some parentals and you know the parents are there.
Run freely. Do what you need to do.
Rip cars,
get chased around, get thrown into the pool, set a fire to the house. That is my kind of movie.
Now, that gives like Don't Be a Menace. What is that? Dennis the Menace?
Yes.
Did you ever watch Dennis the Menace?
I did watch Dennis needed his ass.
Okay, yeah, he did. He needed some parental guidance. That's why I like watching shows and movies where the presence of the parents are known in those movies. Like, that's why I like The Proud Family, That's So Raven.
I did like That's So Raven.
Yes, the Cheetah Girls.
Okay, you were a Disney child.
I was definitely a Disney child.
Okay.
I don't think I liked any Nickelodeon movies like that.
I can't think of Good Burger.
Good Burger was good, but their parents were not around.
They were not. They were not
around.
I don't know what. I think I started watching adult movies because now I'm thinking Friday. I love Friday as a kid. Holiday Heart.
No, Holiday Heart. No child should be watching that movie. I remember watching Players Club because it came on like the channels that wasn't cable. And my mom was like, yeah, y'all not watching this.
That's
like,
what she did. Baby boy with us when he opened that shower and said, baby, tacos. They was like, all right, all the kids go.
All the kids gotta get out of there. Like, I'm glad they rate movies because you should definitely know what you're getting into before you watch it.
Yes, speaking of Holiday Heart, let me tell you.
No, ma'am.
Wanda.
No, ma'am.
That's kind of how I view parenthood.
No, what do you mean? What does that mean? Because she went through a lot.
She was stressed.
She was very stressed.
She lost her mind.
Yeah. You know, I really want to know what was in the minds of those writers when they wrote Holiday Heart.
Listen.
When they wrote Dennis the Menace, The Little Rascals. Did you ever watch Wild Thornberries? The Wild Thornberries?
No. I mean, I know what it is. I've seen it, but I've never sat down and said, I'm going to watch The Wild Thornberries because he was crazy. That's the cartoon menace right there. Because why are you doing all that?
But now that I think about it, there are a lot of cartoons and a lot of movies in the early 90s where the parent presence was just not necessarily there.
Nasty, and we shouldn't. Why are we watching Ren and Stimpy? Just nasty.
No. But even today, when I look on social media, the parental presence, it just looks real different now. Like how parents, I know like people watch YouTube a lot and there are a lot of skits and there's like a lot of pranks and stuff. But even when I see them like be playful as parents, it still come off as cringe to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now there is more parental presence. You know, back then we was like the latchkey kids. Like you know, your mama's at work and you just come home, don't open door for nobody. You're home by yourself for hours on hours. And you can't just do all that no more. Like,
no, you cannot. Honestly, I wouldn't even feel safe with my child being a latchkey kid. Not in today's society.
Yeah, it's different now.
Yeah,
right.
I'm the oldest in my family, so I used to walk me and my sister to school. Like we had a routine down, but yeah, if I lost my key, did your mama ever say, you ain't got the whole world?
Got the whole neighborhood got access to my house.
Now anybody can come find my key and come over my door. Like, what?
The fact that I knew where you was going.
Girl, because it's like, what? And did your mama also be like, when y'all driving in a car, girl, turn off my light. I'm going to get pulled over if they see me with it.
Yeah.
Keisha, for the light of me, You cannot ask me to turn on my light. I will go. I'm scared.
You still think you're gonna get pulled over?
I don't think I'm gonna get pulled over just because my interior light is on. The things that my mama made up and like the parents and the adults made up in my life, it doesn't make
and
any
I just
sense.
found out about the light maybe a smooth 5 years ago.
Really?
That it's not illegal after all.
It never was illegal.
Let me tell you what else I found out. So completely off topic, but here we are. Vicks. Okay, you know you get sick. You put it in your feet and your chest, right? Yeah. I never said make sure you put it in your nose.
I tried that one time.
I was on the toilet the other, a couple of months ago or something. I was just reading it and it literally says, do not put in nostrils. Why are we doing things that we should not be doing?
It burns. Did it burn you?
It did, but I rolled with it for 35 years thinking I should put it in my nose.
Anything to breathe at that point. When I am sick and I am congested, I'm going to do what I got to do to breathe.
Dude, because I said, okay, it's making my nose run.
But that's not it.
But realizing because it's not supposed to be there.
It does not
even working.
No, ma'am.
So please do not put Vicks in your nostrils like your mother and grandma told you.
Yeah, basically do your research.
Do your research. That's a good one.
Yeah, do your research because everything that they told you, it's not it. But you know what is a pet peeve of mine? And my heart goes out to the little babies. But when their parents go on social media and they play pranks on them kids
and they startled
and the kids are crying. Y'all are traumatizing your kid, okay? And you wonder why they're anxious and they don't want to hug you and be on you because it's like that's very scary.
Wait, this reminds me. Okay, so I saw a clip the other day on Instagram. It was like a baby was just born and the baby wasn't crying. Baby was awoke, alive, everything. The baby just wasn't crying. So the doctor was like, doing this to him and like faking dropping him to kind of get the reaction out of him. Because they said if the baby doesn't cry, it could mean like there's like a medical So somebody commented, it was like, this is why I feel like I'm falling when I'm going to sleep as an adult because I got flashbacks of the doctor dropping me, not knowing the connection between the two. And suddenly it makes sense now because these doctors was dropping us.
Oh my God.
This baby used to cry and...
I don't know about that, Keisha. I think we got to do some research on that one. That is a very stretch on that one. Because I think that means something else. Like when you feel like you about to... Yeah. I'm really big on dream interpretations. Anytime I have a dream, I instantly wake up and Google like, okay, what does this mean?
Same.
I love doing that.
Same. I'm gonna remember the drop though. It's a far stretch.
And that's a very far stretch.
I'm connecting dots. Where
I'm gonna need you to do a whole research study and bring back some evidence.
I'm back with PowerPoint.
That's that conspiracy theory they be talking about.
Facts. All right. Okay, we're gonna get into it. So today we are talking about the fears of motherhood, getting pregnant.
Oh, child.
The whole nine.
Girl.
I see the eyebrow raise.
Because I'm scared already, okay? Like, you tell me something, the fear of getting pregnancy. Honestly, I think in today's society, like, media does a better job in talking about getting pregnant and what that looks like. Because back in the day, they was making it seem like, oh, you have sex, you have a baby, you deliver the baby, you're fine, you move on. Mm-hmm. But as we talked about in last season, there is so much that comes with being pregnant. Yep. And I get why people are scared now. Hell, I'm scared. It's a lie. You were scared?
I was traumatized. I remember the first conversation, like before my husband became my husband, he asked, like, do you have plans to be a mom? And I was like, listen, I'm in no rush because I'm terrified. Like, terrified. The main thing I think about is dying during childbirth. Black women have a high rate of dying during birth. And I'm like, I just don't want that to be me.
Yeah.
And a lot of these doctors, sometimes they don't listen to you. And then, brush it off. And I'm just like, I don't know. So I was like, listen, if we ever have a kid, you got to choose between my life or the baby life.
What did you tell
Let's choose me. What you mean?
Okay, so I think that's where we differ because I had that conversation with somebody that I was dating. And I told them that, pick the baby. Like, they deserve to live. I think I did my mission. I served my point. But now, honestly, I got some more life to live. So... I would hate to say that. It's a really tough conversation to have, but it really depends on where you are emotionally.
Why should I have to? But now it's like if I choose the baby instead of you, I have to accept that I'm going to raise this kid on my own.
Yes.
And that's not what I signed up for.
Well, you got to talk to your partner about that to see how they feel about that. I know the person I was dating at the time, they were like, oh, girl, please shut up. I'm choosing you. You know, like we could try this again. We can figure this out again. And I completely understand that. Like, you know, like people want to choose their partner, but that's a very tough conversation to have.
It's very tough, but listen, choose me. I'll flip me first because I can make another kid.
But kids are expensive if you are able to bear a child and bring them into this earth. They're very expensive. Like the cost to have a child these days, I don't know what the number is, but it's entirely too much. I was at like this networking event the other day and I was talking to women who were in their career and they're also business owners. And they talked about how financially they saw themselves working more or their partner working more because they're trying to make sure that they're able to give their children any and everything that they want, especially if you grew up in a household where you didn't necessarily have everything. Yeah. So it gets pretty pricey.
It does. I will say, I think luckily because I have my baby where I work, that my bill wasn't high as I thought it would be. I had like maybe $1,200 to pay total.
Good.
And then they let me like break it up in payments.
Oh, that's nice.
So by the time I had the baby, I had already paid the $1,200.
Nice.
So that was one plus, I will say, to having a baby where you work. But everything else, the expensive child, especially daycare. I'll be like, listen, we're going to choose between groceries or daycare this week. And we're going to go with the groceries. So we'll just go thug it out at home. It's expensive.
I do want to have kids one day. I thought about it. Sometimes I do go back and forth on having kids, but it's because of that financial piece of it all. But if I have to have it my way, which I am going to have it my way, I want to have a doula. I want to have a very natural water birth. Like, I want it all. I told my friends, because one of my friends, I believe she is in school to become an OBGYN. And I told her, say, okay, girls, like, we going to make this into a whole ceremony. We bringing my baby in the beautiful, loving way. But is it cheaper if you do it at home?
It just depends on the doula prices.
Okay.
But I do have a doula for you.
Oh, send her info. I mean, I'm not going to need it right now.
Right. But down the line. I wanted down the line. But I was also like, oh, I don't have the money for the doula on top of all the follow-up appointments.
Yeah.
So that was why I didn't get one. But I did want a doula. I did want a water birth.
Yeah.
However, when it came time for those contractions, give me the medicine now.
But when you're in the hospital, it's really an interesting process because you see them scan literally everything for you to have this baby. And it feels so transactional. And to me, that takes away from like it being a beautiful experience. I mean, the pain is already one thing, but seeing them like scan the medicine, the pamper, the towel, the blanket, all this, you just kind of, I hear that noise, and that to me will piss me off. Like, y'all got to get out of here. I'm in pain. Scan it outside the room.
Right. No, what's annoying is getting asked the same questions that you got asked your whole, the whole pregnancy. Like, what's your pain level? How many pregnancies have you had before? How many births have you had before? How many abortions have you had before? Like, what's your name? What's your date of birth? Like, sir, I'm in a level 10 pain. I'm halfway passed out, halfway coherent.
Yeah.
Like, that's the annoying part. And I went into labor, your bowels be flowing for real. They wasn't tell you about them. So I was always like going back and forth to the bathroom, and the nurse in the emergency room like got mad. She was like, if you keep going to this bathroom, we don't want you to have the baby on the toilet. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit in the bed and...
Girl, you got to figure it out.
Like, ma'am, I'm going to go to this bathroom because that's where I need to use the bathroom.
They didn't give you like a bedpan?
No, when I say the runs, ma'am, I mean the runs.
Goodness.
I mean, you're cleared. All like that should detox. That's the skinny tea that they be drinking. All of that out, ma'am. It ain't nothing solid, okay?
Wow.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yes. So no, I don't want a bedpan. I'm finna walk to this bathroom.
Okay.
And when you come find me, I'll be in the bathroom.
Come find me.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I get it. You want to make sure that you're comfortable and plus sanitary, So I get that. But, the childbirth process and the financial cost of it all, it's a lot to think about.
It is. And especially when you work. I mean, you gotta, once you go on maternity leave, I thought you get paid for maternity leave. I thought automatically.
Oh, you don't get paid for that?
No.
Didn't know that. I thought that's what the purpose of it, for you to get paid.
So if you have short-term disability, great. The short-term disability only covers 6 weeks at 60% of your salary.
Oh, wow.
And then,
but this varies as well, too, depending on your employer as well.
If they do, but most short-term disability that I'm aware of doesn't pay full salary. Wow. But it does depend on your employer.
Wow.
And then, then after those 6 weeks, do you have money to not work for because usually you want 12 weeks off.
Yeah.
So those last 6 weeks, do you have the money? And if you don't, you got to go back to work. And if you just want to thug it out and then you're just trying to, hopefully I got money in my savings to last me for the additional 6 weeks. Wow. So I always thought that, hey, these 12 weeks get paid and it's paid in my full salary.
Right.
Until I went through the process and I was this is crazy. You would think in America that it would just be a benefit that you get.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's you're literally on your own.
Wow. So how would you suggest people prepare for the financial aspect of having a child, in terms of, let's say someone's already pregnant and they are deciding to, take a leave. How would you encourage them to prepare for the hospital costs? Because we're not even getting to the daycare costs or that comes with that next.
I mean, honestly, payment plans, let's be realistic, because if nobody will have $1,500, $2,000, however much it is to just drop immediately.
Right. So, but if you got it, you got it. God bless you.
But it's not. And if you know the hospital you want to have your baby at, after go up there, talk to the admission people and just say, I want to get on the payment plan for the childbirth. How much is it? How many installments can I do? If you have a good job with PTO, save your PTO.
Right.
Because the PTO came in handy. It made up the extra 40%. When I got the 60% pay.
It's just so insane to me because you would think that your birthing process or while you're carrying that you're not working as hard or that you can't take the days because you're saying save up your PTO, but it's just okay, depending on where you are within your pregnancy or whatever trimester you're in, it could be very difficult to have those days because there's morning sickness, there's all types of appointments that you have to go to. So finding that flexibility is really tough.
It's almost a lose either way.
Yeah.
It does take proper planning. I don't know. I mean, I survived it somehow. I can't even tell you how because I was surely I don't know what I'm going to do. But I did not miss a beat. I didn't miss no bills. Everything got paid. I didn't have to ask my man for no money. So I was okay, God got me because I don't even know how.
Yeah. Child, my man going to have it at the end of the day because I
can't.
I'm gonna have the way I see my birthing process is going and my planning of it is support is everything, and I really do believe that it takes a village. And even though I can work as hard as I can to put money aside, this is where I believe 80% of the support I'm going to be needing is going to have to come from my partner. Okay. But I get that that's not always possible because things do happen. And so it's a very weird space to be in when you're pregnant because you have to think about yourself and the possibilities of you taking things on and taking over more responsibility, whether that's financial or emotional, as you go through this process. Because ideally, I would like for 80% from my man to take on all of that so that way I can have some flexibility in how I'm working, flexibility in taking my days and knowing that I'm going to be okay or we're going to be okay.
I agree. And I like everybody, was asking okay, when you going on maternity leave?
Yeah.
When I have the baby, of course.
Yeah.
Not realizing that some people or most people, I don't know, they take off before the baby to get ready for the baby.
Yeah.
That's making a proper planned birth.
Right.
Oh, I thought if I ever got pregnant again, I do want to be one and done. But if ever, I'm okay, I want the luxury of being able to take off, whether that's a month or two.
Yeah.
Maybe just to get situated and just not be boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, because working and depending on the type of work that you do, I would like to just taper myself off and then gradually put myself back into work once I'm ready to go back. But even daycare costs are expensive. I have a godchild, a god baby now, and even when I talk to her mom about the cost of daycare, I am blown away every time because that's someone's mortgage.
Facts. It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. All I can say is luckily we split daycare.
Yeah.
But literally some days I'm like, listen, I need this money for something else. So you're going to be that with me. When I need to make my calls, I'm going to give you this tablet.
Yeah. But shout out to the daycare workers because they be teaching these babies all types of things.
They do.
Some babies be coming back speaking Spanish, and I'm like, okay, I love that for them.
They do. They do. I'm very glad. That's why I always want to do a daycare. Like, I don't want just childcare.
Right.
Teach my baby something so my money's going to something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Plan it. When you're ready, plan it.
I feel that.
Okay.
There is a lot of fear going into pregnancy, and there's a lot of fear of going into motherhood as well too. What were some of your fears?
Outside of dying, that was very much my number one fear. I'm not lying. Like, I really thought, like, please do not let me die on this birthing table. Like, that was my number one fear. And really body image, because I'm just like, you already don't, like, you start to not feel good. You're always, like, nauseous 24/7.
Right.
Tired, no energy. And then you're just getting bigger, all this water weight, the stretch marks.
Yeah.
You know, where you were once small, you ain't small no more. You know, the mama pooch just be hard to break.
Yeah.
So really body image and just hoping that I didn't have to raise the kid on my own.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, I've waited 30, I think at that point I was like 33, 33 years to have a kid. Like, I don't want to be a single mom, you know?
Right.
Like, I want my partner there with me. And then I didn't grow up with my dad because he died when I was a kid, like 6, 7. So I'm like, I grew up without a father. I want my kid to have a father.
Right.
So that was really probably a good fear of mine.
Yeah.
Just hoping that he stays there, you know, he's true to his word. And so far he's been great, you know. So nobody want to do it alone. That's hard.
I don't think nobody ever wants to do it alone. But there are some people out there who prefer it now. They prefer to raise a child independently. Me, preferably, I would love to have somebody there to help me raise the child. Because my biggest fear is, I do believe there are some men out there that will be great dads, but they may not be great partners.
Agree.
And so that honestly is my main concern going into taking that step into motherhood, which is, you know, like, yes, I'm glad that you could be a great father, but I also need you to be a great partner, and having that being a continued thing throughout the course of the child development and at the course of a relationship. Because, kids change people. You know, I'm reading this book right now called Dream Count by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and it is an amazing book. Sorry if I mispronounced the name.
I was going to say, you said that name. I was thinking, Mama, didn't she said that name real good?
I hope that's how you say it. But she's a phenomenal author. And basically in the book, it's about the 4 perspectives of like these women that are navigating through dating. And one of the characters, she was dating this guy. Things were going perfect. She said, hey, I'm no longer taking birth control. And she thought that was them being on the same page of like, hey, we about to have a baby. And so reading that and also seeing how this character developed into her role as a mom, it's so real, because oftentimes you can believe that you and your partner are on the same page about parenting, but you may have to have those conversations very early on, you know. And I encourage people to go to therapy before you go down the path of bringing a child into this world, if you can afford it, if it's possible, because there are so many things that you can identify within yourself that may influence your parenting style, because sometimes it's just a continuation, like it's a generational curse, or you're being influenced by things that were done to you as a child. And so I do believe it's important for people to go back to therapy, but also have really meaningful and direct conversations with your partner, so you know how they're going to show up for you as well as your child when they come into the world.
I think that is good. And I will also say, going through like the pregnancy and the birth and where I am now, like I didn't think I needed to have a conversation with my partner to say, hey, these are the ways I need to be supported, because I really didn't know how I needed to be supported until I was like in it.
Really?
You know, because you just thought, okay, as long as you're there for me, you know, check on me, make sure I'm good. Like that's that. You know, but it goes a lot deeper than that. And talking to him, you know, he really didn't even know how to be there for me.
Right.
Because a lot of men aren't shown that either. It's not discussed either.
No, it's
you know,
not.
one thing that's discussed is, okay, when are we having sex again? Like, that's the common theme in America. Like, when is the 6 weeks up? When are you ready to have sex? And that's it. And there's so much more that goes into relationships because, you know, what if I need you just to, you know, if I'm achy, instead of me having to ask, hey, can you rub me down? Like, you check and ask.
Right.
Or even hormonal. You know, a lot of hormones be fluctuating. Sometimes the women be moody. You got postpartum depression, postpartum OCD. You know, you have all these fears that the woman is going through regarding the baby. Or you just don't know why you're not feeling like yourself. And your partner is like, well, you know, what's wrong with you? We're not connecting. And you can't just say my hormones are acting up. They don't understand what the hormones are.
Right.
They don't understand what the hormones do.
Right.
So it's like men need to be shown how to be there for your partner and what goes through the whole process. Even after you give birth, you don't snap back. Like the postpartum depression can still be there. You still may not feel like yourself. You still may be in a mental fog, you know, whatever it is. And people don't understand that connection because it's not discussed.
Yeah. And going through the birthing process is and you feel so exposed. Like you feel so exposed. Like you have strangers you've never met before, you know, all in your business.
Okay.
You're going through almost like a shedding process yourself, and you're learning how to adjust with your body with these different pads, this faja, all these things, and that you're using to get yourself back to feeling some sense of normalcy. And that's pretty difficult to do. And so talking to your partner about like what this is like for you and having a very open dialogue. I do believe you also have to have a partner that's also emotionally mature to handle those conversations as well too, because because this is something that's not widely talked about. I do see some men, you know, make comments of like, ew, or that's nasty, and it's just like, nobody wants to hear that.
Okay.
A woman does not want to hear ew or that's nasty or see you cringe at something that she has sacrificed her body to go through.
Agreed.
So I do believe you need to also be open and vulnerable, but make sure you have a partner that's going to meet you where you are too.
Correct. Emotional intelligence goes in the home and the gotta have it. That is very true.
Yeah.
That is very true. So yes, I think having a conversation before you get pregnant, like if y'all are thinking about it, you know, discuss, hey, these are the ways I need you to show up for me. These are signs and symptoms to look out for if you see me displaying them.
Yes.
You know, even reading an article or two on postpartum depression, the mood fluctuations, and even me, like I just learned out about postpartum OCD.
Oh, really?
You know, so that's like where you think like, okay, like you may have a fear like, oh, what if I drop my baby? You know, we all have that fear. Like, what if something happens to my child? But the OCD is like scared to be home with your baby by yourself because you think I may do something to my baby, or what if my baby continues to cry and I don't know what to do, or what if I put my baby in this oven? You know, how will my baby scream? It's like serious.
So many intrusive thoughts.
Yes.
I'm so glad you brought up the OCD because it is something that does happen, and it's a part of some women's postpartum recovery. And a lot of people are familiar with like the postpartum in the sense of like it being depression, but it's more than that. It's feeling that intrusive thoughts or constant worrying if your baby is safe and if they're okay. And that's a very real journey for a lot of women.
It's very real. And I think a lot of people don't realize, you know, it's a possibility to have. Because like you said, it's just depression. We think depression and that's it.
Right.
And we think depression is just, I'm crying, you know. But it's so many more diagnoses that goes into like the postpartum journey.
Yeah.
And so I think it definitely needs to be explored if you're going to have a kid, because you just want to make sure that if that happens, that you know how to be proactive with it and how to work through it and how to get your community and the support that you need.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to do it on your own, you know, because nobody wants to feel alone.
Also having people remind you to think about yourself as well too. And that's a very tricky process as well too, because it's not saying that you don't know what you don't need, but at the same time, your need is now being centered around what the baby needs. And sometimes you need people to just remind you that, like, hey, like, you know, did you take a shower today? Did you eat today? Did you go for a walk today? When are you going to schedule some alone time? And a lot of that does bring up some guilt for a lot of moms as well too. And guilt seems like it plays a role into that postpartum recovery as well, of deciphering when you're going to do something for yourself and when you need to do something for yourself and the baby as well too.
I agree. And I think it's important to continue to make time for yourself, because a lot of people just, you know, you throw yourself into motherhood. Because a lot of moms will feel like my baby is the safest with me, you know, which, okay, true, granted, got it. But, you know, like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you don't make time for yourself, you know, you can't be the best person for you, the best person for your spouse, best person for the mom, I mean, the baby. So it's good to just have somebody to remind you, like, it's okay to take some time out. Like, it's okay. You know, the baby will be fine. I got you. Go take the time that you need.
Yeah, it's stressful, and that stress does weigh on your body. So many women, once they have a baby, they come back with high cholesterol or high blood pressure. And how would you encourage them to navigate through that?
Honestly, you're going to have to push yourself to get the care that you need, you know, whether it's to eat right, take care of your body, go see your doctors, because you are very tired when you're pregnant. And I mean, you literally have to force yourself sometimes to get out the bed and to literally brush your teeth, like exhausted. But you have to push yourself, because you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself for that ending goal of having the healthy baby and the healthy pregnancy.
Yeah.
And even like me, like, I had clean eating habits before I got pregnant. And then I got pregnant and all that went out the window. And when I tell you I wanted everything cheesy and greasy and filling.
But see, that's the part I look forward to if I'm going to be pregnant. Like, I want to eat down, but I do want to make sure that I'm being healthy, because the weight gain is nuts. Weight gain is
the weight is so hard to get off after you have a baby. I'm like, I've never been here before. It is so hard. Like, when you say you have to be extra intentional about, you know, your physical activity and working out, and, you know, eating good and trying to ignore the sweet tooth, because you want to indulge in it, but then it adds up.
It does.
You step on that scale at your follow-up appointment, you're like, dang, I gained 35 pounds already, and we still got 4 months to go.
I know I'm gonna have a sweet tooth. I'm the let's go get something sweet type of girly. I am one of those. So it does. You're right. It does.
Today, I will get done eating dinner and be like, now I need something sweet. And that was never me. When I tell you, I did not like sweets. I'm like, I don't want no sweets. Like, give me some real food. I don't care about chocolate, candy, none of that. I want the real food. And now I'm just like, yeah, I need something sweet.
I feel that.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, but I also encourage women to think about how their body is benefiting them. Think about how your body is benefiting you, because sometimes going through the process of having a child and trying to get back to your body, social media can make you think about that it's all about the looks. Like, that's just how media is in general, how your body looks, having a curvy figure or being slimmer, things of that nature. Your body's going to change. And so having a different relationship with your body is so important.
I agree.
Today, I think about how my body is allowing me to walk or allowing me to hold a child if I had a child, you know. But just thinking about other things that my body is allowing me to do helps me appreciate it and love it and want to take care of it more, besides the look, because it's going to change. It's going to change.
I agree. And I'll piggyback off of that. So working in healthcare, you see a lot of people who are bedbound and they have stroke and heart attacks.
Right.
You know, they can't use their limbs. They got edema. You know, it hurts to walk. And just working in that field makes me appreciate my body.
Yeah.
And when I want to be lazy, you know, and not go for that walk or not work out, or I want to eat all the bad foods, I remind myself, like, you can't take for granted the life that you have and the body that you have, because you're able to move. And it's people who have been in the bed for, you know, 8 months, can't walk, and they would love to just be able to go and use their limbs by themselves and not have to rely on somebody to get them out the bed. Right. And so that can be my reality check. Like, you don't take it for granted. You have health, and you need to maintain that health. And not only for you, but you want to be there for your kid, you know, to see them grow up, and you want to be able to be active with your kid without being tired all the time or having heart issues or going back and forth to the hospital.
Yeah. But it's hard to break familiar habits. When it comes to eating, doing what's comfortable, it's really hard to break those habits. And I do encourage people to also be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself in terms of like what is helping you get on track and what is actually keeping you off track.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a conversation with somebody that's unsupportive that can keep you off track.
Very true.
It could be, the fact that things are busy right now and you don't know how to slow things down. That can be keeping you off track. So having a real honest conversation with yourself, not from a place of shame, but from a place of like, how can I help myself get better, definitely shifts things, But I also encourage people to identify what it feels like to connect with change. Because once you start incorporating a new habit, it's going to feel like an inconvenience. It's going to feel like you don't want to do it. It's going to feel like it's taking something away from you. But when you connect with the change of like, okay, I'm on this walk and the sun is out, I can feel the sun on my skin, like that feels good. Like that feeling that comes up for you in that moment will make you want to do it again.
Yep.
Or like, wow, like I remember how I felt after I, went for that exercising class and we got released from the class and I made friends and like, I connected with people. Like that's a feeling that comes up. And so I encourage people to connect with that feeling because that'll keep you into the habit of wanting to do other daily habits that are effective and beneficial for your mental health.
I agree. And I just want to add on to that sometimes the motivation is I just want to look good naked.
Yes.
To myself.
Yeah.
To look good naked.
Yeah.
That be the motivation too.
That is it.
You look in the mirror and you get it. Hold on. I didn't know that was there.
A new curve.
That's a great.
Or change your life.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. So speaking of change, I think another fear of becoming a mom is the fear of the change, the fear of the unknown, because you don't know how things are going to turn out, especially when it's you being the first time mom.
Yeah.
You don't know what the path looks like, and you're literally on a journey every single day for those 9 months. Like, what is this going to look like?
Yeah.
And you also have the fear of maybe, losing the pregnancy early.
Oh.
So you don't want to tell everybody up until you get, 4 or 5 months. And you're like, okay, I passed that mark. But even then, you still have that chance that what if you lose the baby? Like we talked about the body images and financially how is this going to work out? Is my baby going to be healthy? We have to wait on the genetic testing to come back, and do they have any deformities? And it's so many things that go into that that it's just like it can be anxious, that anxiety, and you just have to navigate that, being okay with not being in control.
Yeah.
And just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
You have the fear of like losing your independence.
Yeah.
The fear of not being able to be out on the scene and go everywhere and just get up and go. It's a lot of things that go into being a mom that is fearful, and you just have to work through that fears.
Even while you're saying it, it's just saying you look free. Even while you're saying it, it just sounds like it puts a woman in a position where everything becomes on her. And if you haven't done the work, if you're not sure how to navigate through those anxieties, it's very easy for you to take on that blame. The blame that if something is wrong with the baby, that it's your fault. The blame that, like, okay, if you didn't get up and go walk that one time, that now your baby has all these issues. And honestly, that's where things are out of your control. Like there are women out there who do a fabulous job of taking care of their bodies and eating all the right things, and their baby still comes out with I don't want to say deficiencies, but their baby still comes out with their own things that they have to navigate through. And so that's not a reflection of mom, or what mom did wrong. That's just how life is sometimes. And I don't know, I want to come up with a better word, not say deficiencies, but it just happens.
Yeah, it just happens. It's hard. I don't know. I don't say it's so hard, but if you like you're talking about doing the work, but you have to do the work within yourself first. Yeah. To be able to handle, I feel like, the motherhood journey, because if you haven't done that internal work, then whatever happens, you're just going to be like in this emotional, vulnerable state, and you're already emotional and vulnerable as a pregnant woman, and as those hormones fluctuate, but it can be so much worse if you haven't worked on yourself or been confident in yourself, or you don't already have your coping skills in place, you don't already have your support system in place, you know. So you really need to do the work within yourself to have the smoothest journey possible given your situation. And also, you know, to not pass down generational curses and habits and things that you do that you don't want to take into parenthood.
And when you go through the process of pregnancy or being in a relationship with someone, those generational curses will come up. You will see them. And again, I was watching this TikTok where this lady was like, you're not breaking one generational curse. You came from two parents. So you're breaking your mom's and your dad's family generational curses. So slow down. And that is something that I believe everyone should remind themselves, that breaking generational curses is heavy work. And you have to pace yourself, and you have to remind yourself that it takes time to undo these things. And so identifying your patterns and how they're not working for you helps you break those generational curses. But you can only do what you can.
You can only coming from the last episode about perfection, did you just hear what came out your mouth?
You can only do what you can.
Oh, you are recovering perfection.
I am
so proud of you right now. I am so proud of you.
I have not been pushing at all, girl.
That's beautiful.
Only do what you can.
That's beautiful. Also, not only breaking patterns, but creating new patterns is important. So, like, even when I am, let's say I'm in a very frustrated state with Layla. You know, she's very crying and needy, and I'm trying to do something, and I'm exhausted and I'm tired. Like, my first reaction is to snap. But I have to tell myself not to snap, because I don't want her to think this is how you handle frustration. And this is how you communicate when you're mad, you know. Or you might want to just, I'm so mad at you because you keep crying, like, pop you. Like, I don't do that either, because I don't want her to think, you know, physical aggression is the way to go. So it's like you have to check yourself every day and thinking, okay, how do I want to respond? Because every interaction with her is like a learning moment. Especially at that age where they're soaking up everything. You know, they have that learned imitation that they're doing. So it's just like every day you have to be intentional.
Yes, you do. But that what you're talking about is honestly co-regulation. You're teaching her how to regulate her emotions, but you're doing that from a place where you have regulated your emotions. Like, yes, internally you could be like, oh my God, stop freaking, you know, crying. I want to like
shake you so bad.
But that's a huge issue in Black and brown communities, specifically Black communities, where a child that's crying is met with like corporal punishment or met with some form of aggression. And that doesn't teach them how to manage their emotions. That teaches them that their emotions are not something that's safe or accepted. And so you're really, you know, mirroring and reflecting with her how it's safe for her to feel this connection and to feel this emotion, and that she's safe while doing it.
That is beautiful. Let me tell you. So she's in that phase where she's like playing with the dolls and the stuffed animals. And so she had got two of her bears, and she put them up to the little table in her room, and she was like feeding them. And then she took the bear and she sat the bear in the potty, and she was like, "Bear, go potty." And I was like, in that moment, I was waiting to see what else she was going to say that she's learned or heard from me. And she never said, you know, bad to Layla, or she never hit the baby, or never said anything like that. I said, okay, that's my side that I'm doing good. Because, you know, most kids play, they be like, bad, so you got to do better. And I was like, I didn't hear any of that. So I was like, oh, yeah, just picking up good things. Luckily it's feeding and going to the potty, because for sure. So yeah, they definitely pick stuff.
Yeah, but you're bringing up a good point of knowing how to separate work stress, couple stress from being a parent. Because sometimes if you're moving so fast, you can make a very common mistake of taking out outside issues and bring it into your dynamic with your child. And that is just a child. You can, and a lot of parents have to modify their expectations for their children, because sometimes in Black households, there is an expectation for children, Black children, to take on more responsibility and to be performing and being obedient, and that really takes them out of their childhood faster than what it needs to. And so even just because it was done to you, you can't do it to your child. You have to modify your expectations because they're only a child, and so they're not gonna get what you're saying on the first try. It's not about obedience, but it could be about you saying what you getting your message across to them in a very respectful way, because they're human, and so I try to encourage parents to remember that it's more about respect than obedience. Obedience will come when there's a line of respect there.
Agreed. I did like it. Especially dealing with when your kids become teenagers or the preteen.
Yeah.
You definitely gotta be respectful. Even like with my stepson, like I never will be like, hey, get in here, clean this up right now. Like I always be like, hey, can you go over here and clean up your mess? Yeah, and he'll do it. I'll be like, all right, thank you. Just to keep the respect in line.
Keep it.
And so it doesn't sound so authoritative and demanding, because they're not gonna respond to that way.
No, and not every kid likes that, or they can respond to that. And you do have to get to know your kid. You have to get to know their personality and what works for them, and taking the accountability to pivot. Some parents hate to be wrong, and sometimes you just wrong.
Oh,
you're just wrong, and that's okay. And learning to be okay with that, knowing how to accept that you're modeling that for your child.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Especially like when it comes like waking your kid up in the morning.
Child.
Like back in the day, get your ass up, I see parents do that, and the kid don't get up 10 minutes, and you come in there opening the door, throwing colors off.
It's alarming.
Like I don't want to start my day like that.
No.
And I can only like, as an adult, I see how damaging that could be to the start of your day. Like I'm already getting yelled at the start of my day, or getting hit with aggression and threats.
Throws off your whole day.
The whole day, and you be wondering why your kid, at school acting out or in trouble because the day got started off. So like when I wake Layla up, I always be like, "Good morning, how did you sleep?" And then she's in this phase of, "I love you, mommy." So I'm like, "Oh, I love you too." It's so cute. So you're just trying to have a good, smooth, slow start to the day. Like not up scrambling directly.
I agree. So do your own work, y'all. It starts with you. If you notice that your child is having some difficulties, then look in the mirror, because it's probably came from you. It probably came from you.
What else? I think relationships, having a kid can definitely come between your relationship, and it's no longer, you and your man who got all your attention, and y'all were able to just get up and go and do what you wanted to do. Like the kid comes in the middle, and honestly, the kid takes up all the time and all the attention, and your partner can definitely feel isolated. Like, what about me? Where do I fit in this?
But that's where the partner got to speak up, in my opinion.
True, but this is why you got to have like that conversation and that strong foundation, because like, okay, it's not that my partner doesn't care or love about me. We have an addition that our focus and attention have shifted. But also, even if you do feel neglected, like come up and talk to me about it so we can get back on cue, or come up with ideas for us to get back on cue and to pivot correctly. Instead of just, soaking in your emotions, and then there's a wedge, and now you're arguing, and you feel like things have changed, and I want to break up. You really have to be intentional about everything once you have this baby.
Very true. Very true. I feel like we dropped so many gems on today's episode.
We did. I hope it ease some of your fears.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there, okay?
Amen.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But all right, we want to thank y'all so much for joining us on today's episode. We hope you all enjoyed it. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, definitely give us 5 stars and let us know what you thought about today's episode. And please share with us some of your favorite childhood memories, or even fears that you have to research that you figured out were fake, that were told to you at a very early childhood age. And so thank y'all so much for tuning in.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Committed to Me Podcast.
Yes. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.